Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a sunny day here in East Cambridgeshire, United Kingdom. Broadcasting live to you on this beautiful sunny Tuesday afternoon. And it's another coffee break live update with yours truly. And I've been running a little late today, so sorry about that. Waiting for a few more people to join in. Hope you can hear me okay. Give me a thumbs up if you can. And a real cup of coffee today. Decaf though. Hits the spot. I want to start off, before I get into the main topic, which I posted earlier this morning. I wanted to see if anybody's listening right now who has been experiencing an extremely higher than normal level of fatigue in the last, 18, 24 hours, something like that. So if you have, please put it in the comments section so I can see your responses. I don't know what's going on in particular. There is a couple of things that may be a culprit, so to speak. But before I get to we're only in it for the money, I would like to find out, or take a poll. How are you all feeling out there? What's going on right now in your body or in your emotions or banging around in your head? Notice the sunny weather. I have to pull out an aloha shirt and a hat, how are you feeling? What's been going on? What's happening in your neck of the woods? All right. So it's very important to share, what is going on with ourselves at this time, because we only have this minimal contact through virtual reality. But it's okay. We can do the best we can given the circumstances. So what I'm talking about today is we're only in it for the money. And what that references is that there seems to be a hidden amount or a great deal hidden around what is going on with not just the economy, but with the ecology of our planet. So, with this, whatever you want to call it, happening the last few months, as you may be well aware of, there has been so much impact on global economy, on people's finances, and the sense that somehow, are we ever going to, get out of this situation, or when's it going to happen? Will it go back to normal? Will it be business as usual as before? I kind of doubt that, but I'm also aware of the fact that there is a great and powerful segment of people who would definitely like things to go back to the way it was before. To that end, I'd like to report that 2 days ago, on CNBC, which is a United States news affiliate, American billionaires saw their fortunes soar by $434 billion during the U.S. lockdown between mid-March and mid-May. So basically, not everybody is hurting, all right? So there is a big uptick of income. Jeff Bezos of Amazon, Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook. This headline, by the way, appeared in The Guardian, appeared in The Independent, and disappeared. It's like news stories from the UK don't appear in US media, and news stories from the US media don't appear there, they appear here. And then, sometimes they're promptly taken down, no matter which side of the Atlantic you're talking about. Speaking of more banning, I mentioned this in the post for this morning, that Michael Moore's latest effort, Planet of the Humans, which he produced, which means he also had a very big hand in its production and funding, was taken down by YouTube because somebody who was featured in the film having to do with the mining of rare earth elements or minerals in Inner Mongolia didn't like what was going on and asked YouTube to take it down because he thought his copyrights had been breached. Anyway, side notion, but basically another piece of censorship has occurred. Because there's big money behind it, I think. That's my take on it. Now, one of the things that comes down to this whole thing about we're only in it for the money is the fact that there is a great deal of concern that started up about 2 years ago about the new Green Deal or the Green New Deal. I don't know which way it's called. And the concern is that the planet is being monetized to such an extent that even ecological survival is becoming a capital idea. And when I mean capital, hi Andrea, hello Lorraine. Took a few minutes for everybody to kind of get the feeling that I'm here. I want to rewind a little bit. I'm going to pause it right there about ecology and capitalism and everything. How is everyone feeling? Can you put in the comments, are you feeling physically strong today, full of energy, or are you tired, or are you feeling just a little bit off center or out of kilter? Please comment so I can see. Hi Lorraine. Yeah, thumbs up would be good, but I would like words. That would be great if you could tell me how you feel in your body right now. How do you feel in your emotions? How is, I can't ask you how the cafe is. It's probably been closed, Lorraine. But, I hope you're doing well. I hope the family's ready to get back to it, serving those great food and great coffees. An aside to somebody I know in Glenmark, Ireland, in Cork County in Ireland. Here is the thing that we have to... somebody's finally come up with a response. Susie, what part of the world are you in? Are you in the UK? Bad dreams last night. Yeah, I had loads of crappy dreams. Off-centered headaches. My partner got a huge headache, almost a migraine last night. But I'm glad you're here. Your energy level is good and overall you're feeling peaceful. Sorry, I adjust the phone here. Northern Ireland, that's right, Susie. Great. Thanks for the reminder. Well, I don't know. I've been looking, this is an aside. I hate to get off track and go all over the place. But the transits today don't really point to anything huge in regard to anybody feeling tired, out of sorts, things of that nature. So other than the fact that the nodes change signs, they're in Gemini and Sagittarius now, and they're at the 29th degree. The 29th degree being the anaretic degree, which I've talked about many times, as being the degree of the hammer of the gods, meaning, there are things going on behind the scenes that have nothing, that you can't change with your free will choice. It's just divine mandate, if you will. Yeah, till 4 p.m. Allison, what part of the world are you in? Energy feeling light and bubbly yesterday up until 4. Now, was that 4 a.m. or 4 o'clock last night? No, it's a flat day. I'm sorry, it's just a very flat day. Even the birds were quiet this morning. Normally we get the dawn chorus at like 3:45 in the morning, and nothing all morning. I'm going to continue to research this because there's something going on atmospherically, electromagnetically perhaps, gamma radiation influx because of the extreme solar minimum. Whatever it is, it's not what we're used to. Thanks for joining the party, Sabrina. Here's the thing, going back to ecology, economy, and follow the money. The first time I ever heard the phrase follow the money was by a journalist and investigative reporter and ex-LAPD policeman named Michael Rupert. And he did a tour of the United States shortly after the 9/11 attacks. And I'll have something to say about the astrology of that with what's going on now in a few minutes. Back in 2001, in November 2001, I saw him do a public performance or a presentation in Eugene, Oregon called The Truth and Lies of 911. During that, he presented it like an investigative reporter or a prosecuting attorney. He laid out the chain of events behind the scenes financially to who would stand to gain, cui bono, who benefits in an attack on the World Trade Centers and the Pentagon and so forth. And he did a very convincing connecting of the dots just from an economic or financial or monetary standpoint between certain individuals and organizations. And here's the thing. First time I ever heard the phrase, if you want to know the truth, follow the money, was from him. And he went on to feature in a film by Chris Smith in a documentary called Collapse. And a lot of things in that documentary are happening now. And he talked about then, in 2009, I think is when the film came out, a few years before his death. And that is what's happening now. This film last year that I just discovered called Banking Nature is linked in my timeline, by the way, in the first post this morning about today's Go Live. And it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal what's going on, how much money is being dumped into merchandising nature. Capitalizing. In other words, these people, here's where my blood begins to boil, and I'm calling out to all men on this. You know, if you're gonna, you know, you better check in and start meditating, connecting to God, connecting to the planet, because we're going to need each other. We're going to need men to step to the foreground here. Is that they look at the planet, they look at nature, and I'm talking the oligarchs and the heads of big tech companies, people who are making investments in what they call green technologies, to treat the planet as if it were another commodity, okay? As if it were a resource rather than a living thing. This is not okay. This is not getting us any further ahead of the curve in terms of degradation of the environment. It's treating trees as if they are a capital resource is not the same thing as recognition and reverence of life, and how there is a symbiotic relationship between the breathing that we do and the breathing that trees and vegetation does. There is a symbiotic balance between these natural organic life forms, ourselves, the rest of the species, but especially the plant and tree life on this planet, which create the oxygen envelope that we live within. You know, the atmosphere is only 53 miles deep. That's like driving from here to Letchworth in the UK, where I'm sitting. That's not very high, and only a portion of that is breathable atmosphere. Breathable atmosphere. So the other reason that atmosphere is so important to us, our oxygen uptake, is because that is the predominant problem with COVID-19. It attacks the oxygen uptake and respiratory system in human beings. All right? So here's the thing. If we keep disturbing the ionosphere with internet satellites beaming back down at us, we keep disturbing our own environments, there is going to be a price to pay. And if we keep treating and we keep allowing a greater portion of the wealth and power in this world to keep treating or looking at or even thinking about nature and the planet as being nothing more than a form of capital to be exploited, well, follow the money. See where it leads you. Because money, you know, some people may say that technology is the God, science is the God, medical science is the God, the new God of this age, digital sciences. I think it's still money. This is something we're going to have to get our heads around as a truly awakened people, because, you know, most of the woke stuff now is like, you know, bypassing humanity. It's bypassing humanity. We want transhumanism. We want transcendence in a digital realm. And that's a dead end. It's an evolutionary cul-de-sac. And anybody trying to sell you that is basically an agent for grooming you for AI, for artificial intelligence. So this is where our corporate leaders and our big tech company heads are trying to steer the rest of the human race. And the only way to make that work is to marginalize nature and put it on the fringes, put it basically on the edge of our experience directly, and say, oh, it's just a commodity. It's something we're making an investment in so that there's an ROI, a return on investment. We wouldn't do it otherwise if we're not going to make billions and trillions of dollars off of this. You nuts? Why would they go to that extent to you know, try to restore biodiversity for the benefit of their bottom line? That is not going to happen. because one species will be favored over another based on its profitability. One type of plant or one type of tree will be favored over another due to its profitability and how easy it is to turn it into a commodity, how fast you can do it, how many people and how many markets can you reach with it. I used to be in the accounting industry. I used to be in the hotel industry and in finance. And I used to understand and, try to understand and study banking and finance and investment banking. I used to do investments for the owners of the company I worked for. So coming from that background, I understand that the motivation is always to keep expanding what one has in terms of a power base and in terms of assets and capital. But it isn't just for that reason. It's now come to the reason that George Orwell first cited as the reason for a society or a dystopian vision of something like 1984, and it's for power alone. Hegemonic power. That's the only motivation anymore. Money is, how should we say, a means to an end. That's all it is. When we're talking money, we're talking the billions and the billions, not the paychecks you and I have or the portion of the pie that we get, whether it's working for somebody else or a company or being an entrepreneur. But how long are we going to put up with that? How long until we decide that capital, in whatever form, is not life? That return on investment is more important than quality? That competition for diminishing scale and increasing scale in terms of seeing us as the resource material, the raw materials, how long is it going to take for us to go, no, I do not give consent? So the men have to step into the breach here. The women are the guides. Women are out there in the front, but not in that masculine energy. That won't work. The world prizes that masculine expression out of a woman, but that's the old capitalist patriarchal model. Okay? And when you switch that, when you say, okay, well, what if the men step into their power? What if the men step into their real power, their undistorted power, and say, I'm here in defense of life. I'm here in defense of the feminine. And when the biggest feminine symbol is the one that's under your feet, that's it. You're standing on her. You're breathing her air. You're eating her food. Your very physical makeup is the stuff of the earth and the stars. Thank you, everybody who's tuning in. Appreciate that. By the way, I'm going to pose the question again. Anybody feeling a bit off? Anybody feeling super tired today or have been in the last 12 to 18 hours? Anybody feeling like not quite on key with yourself? I'd like to hear. I'd like to hear how you're feeling. I'd like to hear how you're thinking. I want to hear what it is that you're feeling. So we can have a dialogue, so we can have a cooperative dialogue, so we can have, this is not just me preaching, this is not me just teaching, this is me asking for us to have a conversation. I wish it were different. I wish this was the radio show and I could have call-in lines, but I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna resurrect my old Blog Talk radio show in the US or something like it, so that we can have a two-way interaction. If we're going to have to be on this digital platform for now, whether it's Facebook or elsewhere, then we have a choice of how we want to have the conversation go. I heard a great phrase last night. I don't even remember where it was. Oh, I know what it was. It was this show that we're following on Netflix about restaurants on the edge. I'm really into it because I was in the hospitality industry, food and beverage. And here are three people, a designer, a restaurateur, and a chef, who go around and they help restaurants in distress. And they do it in the most heartfelt, creative way I've ever seen any of these types of shows, right? They don't critique a person to death. They don't critique their business, their enterprise, the love of their life to death. They do something about it that's creative and fun and totally heartfelt, totally heart-centered. And what was great about watching this show is that, one, the restaurateur trying to help this guy who's a solo act running a Caribbean cafe in Canada, of all places, in the backwoods of Canada, said, you know, it's the teamwork that makes the dream work. The teamwork makes the dream work. So we have to be clear, first of all, about what our dream is for life on planet Earth. What is your idea of life going to be like here, next month, next year, 10 years from now? How do you want to live heaven on earth? How do you want to create heaven on earth? So that is the question to ask yourself to take away from this, okay? And then we have to have a dialogue. We have to be like the Indians sitting around the campfire and discussing and sharing it and seeing which way is the best way to go. And let spirit decide. Put it to spirit and say, okay, we don't see as far ahead as spirit, ever. Thank you all for tuning in live. That's my message today. Follow the money to find out why things are the way they are, and then choose rightly, choose wisely what it is you want to do about that, how you want to participate, how you want to make a difference, a real difference. Not just in your life, but in the lives of everyone. Whether you ever meet them or not doesn't make any difference. Here's where we truly are one, and we have to demonstrate that, or it means nothing. Okay? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, and please send me your questions, comments, ideas for future topics, things that you have concern about right now that you'd like me to address or talk about. I don't care what it is. It's spirituality, sexuality, EMFs, spiritual protection, relationships, love, any of that stuff. Please let me know, all right? I'd appreciate that. And then I will let you know when I have found a platform that allows us to have two-way conversations, to have a dialogue. Then it would be great to actually meet you, you know, on a Zoom chat with like 50 people, all in video and everything. And that I can share, and then you can comment, or we can have an open discussion, all right? So we can find way forward through this. I'll tell you what the bottom line is. Don't give in to fear. There are different levels and types of fear, all right? But this existential fear, or this fear that's being planted and implanted and pounded into the psyche of the collective and collective consciousness, don't buy into it. It's total BS, all right? And when YouTube takes down a video, you have to look at it and say, why? And then do your own research, do your own questioning. Maybe there was something that somebody didn't want you to hear, somebody who didn't want you to see something, all right? Whatever the case may be, it's not about being a conspiracy theorist. It's about being a seeker of truth. It's about being one who embraces and demonstrates truth. Keep that in mind. It's a throwaway insult to call somebody a conspiracy theorist. 2,000 years ago in early Christianity, there was the wisdom masters of the Levant, of the Mediterranean, who ran all the mystery schools and were the kind of the secret guidance behind most of the cultures back then. The Gnostics, although they didn't call themselves the Gnostics, they called themselves Telestai. They called themselves Telestai because they were the ones who are aimed, which is what that Coptic Greek word means. Telestai means we who are aimed. We have a direction. We have an understanding, a goal of where humanity can go and where they can really flourish and blossom. And the early Christian fathers and monks and priests called them Gnostics because it was insulting. And they took it on board and said, okay, you know, we'll make this our own. You can insult us all you want, because Gnostic basically meant you're a know-it-all. You're an arrogant know-it-all. So when you have something you want to share and somebody calls you a conspiracy theorist, just go, yeah, that's me. All right, you know. I'm going to not ever consider that insult as anything else than a compliment from somebody who has not yet opened their mind to the possibilities of something other than the collective consensus narrative. Okay, so rebellion can be a beautiful thing, and a rebellion without dancing means nothing. So let's get out there and dance more. Okay, all right. Take care. Have a great afternoon. See you on Thursday afternoon at 3 p.m. And hopefully I will be less scattered. I'm still dealing with whatever this energy is that's changing. Hopefully it'll be a lot more focused, a lot more precise, a lot more pristine on Thursday. All right, 3 p.m. British summertime. Of course, in the U.S., that's 10 a.m. on the East Coast and 7 a.m. on the West Coast. All right, signing off from now here at the Coffee Break Live. Going to have another sip. Maybe it'll work. Take care, everybody. Blessings on your journey. Bye for now.